everybody, it's Brock and we got a brand new episode of All About. Hope y'all all had a good week. I'm glad you're all here. Hope y'all's weekends are going really good. Today we got a brand new episode of All About the Atlantic Blue Tang. This one's been asked for a lot, so I'm really happy to be bringing this video to y'all. Other names they like to give them is the Blue Caribbean Tang, the Blue Tang Surgeonfish, or just simply the Blue Tang. So the Atlantic Blue Tang will normally cost you about 60 bucks to get one. A lot of times you can find them cheaper if you do get a juvenile though, so you could save some money. Tank size, you'll need at least 120 gallon because they do eventually get pretty large. 120 will give you a good 6 feet for them to swim back and forth, as they are a very active swimmer, as you can tell by the video. Care level, I would say moderate. Main thing is because they have a difficulty getting to eat whenever they're first introduced into the tank. Sometimes they just have a hard time getting acclimated to the tank environment, so it can be iffy. Temperature, you want to keep it 72 to 78, pKh 8 to 12, pH 8.1 to 8.4, and your salinity 1.020 to 1.025. All that's basic there. You keep it in between there, he'll be really happy. Max size, they can eventually get about 10 inches, which is huge. It's a very, very big tang. Eventually they can hit that size, so just expect to have a large enough aquarium to house one of these. Colors, so it's really cool whenever they are young and a juvenile, they are bright yellow like a yellow tang, and they have these little bitty blue accents along their fins. They're very pretty, but as they get older, they'll continue to darken and darken and darken until they're this deep blue color, but still having some yellow accents on them from when they were a juvenile. So it's a very pretty fish. The one you're seeing in the video is an adult, so you can see he has a lot of blue on him, but he still has some of that yellow accents going over him and on his back tail. And as they do continue to get older, they will continue to just get darker and darker. Diet, so they are an omnivore. They need plenty of algae to eat. So tangs are normally herbivores, and they'll eat kind of some meat every once in a while. You'll notice once you start feeding your other fish your meaty food, they'll come up there and eat that as well. But they definitely have to have algae in the system because that will keep their health very good. It'll keep their colors looking very pretty. It also keeps them from getting any kind of diseases or bacteria infections, anything like that. That algae keeps them really, really uptight and healthy. So a big thing with the Blue Atlantic Tang is it's always good to have some algae, some natural algae already growing in the tank, because a lot of times they see that dry seaweed and they don't want to go for it, but that algae that's growing on the rocks, they'll go on there and pick at that while they're getting acclimated to the new tank. So I would always recommend trying to get some kind of little algae in there, like some hair algae growing on a rock. That way he'll have a natural food source that he's used to eating. And like I said, once he gets acclimated, he'll come up there and start eating flakes, pellets, or little mysis and brine shrimp as well with your other fish, but you definitely have to be feeding some algae to him. I like to put a little slice of algae in my tank once a day. That way my tanks can go up there and eat on it. So definitely recommend getting some algae in their diet every single day. You'll have a lot better luck with keeping these. Origin, so they do come from the Caribbean. That's where their name comes from. That's where everybody gets them. They're all swimming around in the reefs down there with a lot of caves, a lot of tight rock structures and corals that they can swim around and pick at algae all day, every day. Compatibility, so just ask. He is a tang, so eventually they do become the kings and queens of the tank. They'll be the most territorial one in the tank over new fish that are introduced. They can be in groups or pairs, but you really need a larger tank if you are going to house multiple of them. You'd have to upgrade to something like a 180 and above, because you think you got a big tang and you have multiple of them, you're going to need plenty of room for them to swim around. They can be also kept alone. If you are wanting to mix them with other tangs, always make sure the other tangs it is housed with have different body shapes. So things like a powder brown and Achilles with that round circle shaped body, that's not going to work. A lot of times they'll see each other and think they're alike and they'll start fighting over territory. But things like a Naso tang or orange shoulder, who have like a long oval body, they do really well with. So you'll definitely have to just play around with it if you are wanting to mix multiple tangs together. It's always good to try to add them at the same time too. That will always help you on lowering your chances of them fighting. A lot of my experience with these are they're very fragile and they are shy as a juvenile, especially when first introduced into a new tank. So definitely just be patient. Make sure they're eating during the day. Make sure they're at least going around on the rocks and picking at them, picking for some algae, even if they're not coming up and eating with your other fish every day. As long as they're at least eating some algae on the rocks, you'll know they're getting food in their diet. Make sure you have lots of live rock in your tank, lots of nice little caves built, because they can be shy at times, especially whenever you're in front of the tank. So build a nice structure for him to swim around and be in the open, but also have places where he can go back in the back and hide when he wants to not be around anybody. Just a FYI, they do have a very sharp bone right in front of their back tail fin, so definitely be careful. They will stick this out as protection against themselves, against predators, against you whenever you're in the tank. If you do see them swatting at other fish with it, you'll know they're kind of fighting against each other. So definitely watch that if you are mixing up some tangs. If you start seeing their tails flapping at each other real bad, you'll know they're probably not going to get along. Other than that, that pretty much hits on everything you need to know about taking care of the Atlantic Blue Tang. If you do have any questions, something more specific, or if you have certain fish in your tank and you're not sure they'll go together, please leave it down in the comments. I'll be happy to help you. Or you can reach out to me on social media. I'll talk to you there too. The main things to remember is they are very shy and fragile fish at the beginning of whenever putting them in your tank. So you want to make sure you get them to eat quick. Make sure you have plenty of algae in there every day for them to eat on. And you'll do so much better with keeping these guys in your aquarium. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see y'all later.